Hello, welcome to Exotic Gardening with me, Yorkshire Kris, and this is episode 3 of my Winter Diaries series where we're sort of preparing and going through winter together. And last night was pretty nippy. It got down to 1.9 degrees Celsius, so pretty cool. A lot of people got frost last night. We didn't get a frost, but we were close. And things like the plants around me here, so this Irisine, Coleus or Solenstomum, they still look fine, but it won't be long before plants like this will die because we will get frost soon. Tonight we could get a frost, and even if we don't, several nights below sort of 5-6 degrees in a row and the daytime temperatures not rebounding too much will mean definitely Solenstomum will sort of frazzle out and blacken off, and Irisine will hold on a bit longer until we get the first proper frost. But I've got the insurance policy like we did in episodes 1 where we took cuttings of these plants and got them safely in the greenhouse where it's nice and warm. So these plants can carry on looking good for as long as possible, right until we get those first proper frosts, which won't be too long. But other plants are still looking good. We've got the dahlias that have been deadheading. They're adding lots of colour as we go through October. But there are plenty of jobs we need to start doing now because it is getting colder. Winter will be here soon, so we definitely need to start thinking and preparing. So in this episode, we're going to be collecting seeds, we're going to be bringing in some very tender plants, and we're going to be preparing for building shelters in a few weeks' time. So in this shady part of the garden, I've used some houseplants in the shape of these cheese plants, Monstera deliciosa, for summer bedding basically. So they're still in pots, but they've been out all summer just to give that jungly undergrowth feel for this part of the garden. And it's very sheltered here. We've got bananas above, we've got the bamboo overarching as well. So even though it got to pretty cool temperatures last night, there's no chance these were going to get frosted, but we're getting close, so it is time to bring these in. So I'm basically just going to pick them up, check them over for bugs and pests, and then we'll put them in the greenhouse. So these are not the most beautiful specimens of Monstera. You know, they've not been pampered in a house, they've been kept in my greenhouse the last couple of winters, brought out for the summer, so they've never truly been houseplants, and the slugs have had a little go at them over the summer as well. But before we bring them back into the greenhouse, I'm going to take off the old dying leaves. So I've got a yellow brown leaf here that I'm going to cut off to the base, so we don't need that anymore. And I'm going to check over the foliage. So this foliage actually has snails on, so I will rub those off. Don't want snails really, but I can't see any other pests. There's no white fly or green fly on these, which is good to see. No red spider mite, which is the bane of a lot of people's plants when they're kept warm indoors. So although it looks a bit tatty, it's actually pretty healthy. This leaf here, a little bit of detritus, so we'll get rid of that. But overall, these are good to go. The pots are in, are fine. They've got these roots, aerial roots as well, growing. The compost is still nice and moist. And if I was putting this straight into a house, I'd probably repot these into a different medium so that there's no, well, less chance of creepy crawlers coming out into the house. But as these are just going to the greenhouse, I won't bother doing that. So yeah, I think we're good to go. Another plant that's time to come indoors is the Ensete bananas. And this one here has been growing in a pot, which makes life really easy because we don't have to truly dry store. So I've done videos on dry storing bananas and how to overwinter on set in various different ways over many videos, and I'll do a link in the description below and up in the corner. But because it's in a pot and it's just in regular multi-purpose compost, which is already pretty dry already, it's well rooted in there, and it's going to carry on slowly growing where I'm going to put it in the house, well, greenhouse to begin with, and then probably moved into the house. All I need to do is tidy it up. So that means just removing the lower leaves, and you'll still find, even though it's not rained for a few days, all the leaf bases here are full of water, so I'm still going to turn this upside down to drain it a bit. I'm using a serrated knife. I've often used a bread knife, but I've got this smaller little saw knife, and I've sterilised this. So I've washed it with fairy liquid, and then I've sprayed it with a solution of vinegar and some Dettol as well, just to get rid of some of this rust, but also to clean it and sanitise it. So we're just going to cut off some of these leaves. We've removed any little weeds around here as well, so the compost is pretty clear. And I think we'll just get rid of that one there. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, we'll just drain it. Doesn't need to be upside down for too long in this case. We'll just see, you can see the water coming out. I'm just going to put it on the stairs over here, upside down. So it's resting like so. We'll leave that for an hour or so, and then that will go into the greenhouse ready for winter. And I'm considering if I want to keep the bills down in the greenhouse and not keep it too much above 5 degrees, then this will probably go into the house, into the downstairs bathroom where it's cool, but it's above 10 degrees, which is what you really want. I say you can keep these down to 5 degrees dry stored, and you can, and sometimes they come through winter totally fine down to 5 degrees, but they can still rot away if it's wet as well at 5 degrees. So in this case, I'm keeping it above 10 degrees ideally, and that will slowly grow over winter, and that'll be ready to repot in spring. Now, some seeds are easier to collect than others, and behind me we have Canna Alisteinii, which is well over 2.5 meters tall at the top of the flowers there. I'm 2 meters tall pretty much, so I should be able to reach, and probably can't see from this distance is there's lots of ripe seeds. So I'm going to try and get some of those and show you what they look like. So I'll just dodge between all the foliage. I've got lots of ricinus plants here, which I'm going to be careful not to eat. As we all know, they're very poisonous. But we'll get up there and we'll reach some of these seeds. Right, got a couple of pods. I'll come back to you without standing on too much of the garden. And here we have, if we can focus, some lovely seed pods, and the seeds are already falling out. Nice, dark, hard, round seeds, and these are perfect for sowing next spring using the boiling water method, which I'll do a link for in the description below, which guarantees pretty much very fast, rapid germination. So these seeds now I will store somewhere cool in a little paper bag, and they'll be fine to sow next March and April to get plants as big as that within a year or two. Now, much more demure and smaller than Canna Alisteinii is Canna patens, this beautiful, delicate little species. It's only about 1 meter, 1.5 meters tall, and it's still flowering away, as you can see. Beautiful, dainty little flowers, very hardy canna as well, just comes up year after year and very easy from seed. But the seeds are much smaller, so although we've got flowers here, if we look further down, we do have some nice seed pods. So you can see the immature seed pods here, but you can see the brown mature seed pods here, and you can see how they've split open, and just by rubbing that you can see the seeds come away quite easily. So I will collect these seed pods, got quite a few here and further around, and we'll sow them in spring like the Canna Alisteinii, and have plenty of plants for my summer open days. Other seeds to collect at the moment include amaranthus. So I've got the giant form here, and these red flowers are still looking good, but if I just give that a little rub, we'll see we've got some bits of flowers, yes, but we've got some little brownish black little disc like seeds. So again, these can be saved and stored next year. There we are, nice in focus. Or we can just scatter them in the garden like these and will just grow into plants where they fall. And another plant we can collect the seeds from is Akebia or chocolate vine. You can see the decaying fruit on the floor there, but you can also see lots and lots of seeds. So if you look on the path here, we've got lots of black seeds, so I can just pick these up and collect these seeds, and we can sow them next year and we'll get lots of new plants. And this is what the mature plant looks like. A big vigorous vine, beautiful flowers in spring, and then wonderful purple fruit in late summer and autumn. Here we've got a wonderful solanum, and this has these really interesting leaves, serrated leaves, and these nice sort of recognisable potato-like flowers from the family, and it has fruit as well. In this case it's a poisonous fruit, so we wouldn't eat it. Let's have a look. I actually got a better one here, you can see those, but we can collect the seeds from these and then we can grow more plants next year. This is a spider flower or cleome, and it's been flowering its socks off since July now, so this is one of the last flowers here, but you can see all the seed pods forming around, and these split open quite easily. And down here, if we look at that, this one just about ready to split open. If I just press it, you can see it opens up and we've got lots and lots of seeds. Again, these can be saved for next year to grow wonderful spider flowers throughout the garden, and it saves a few pounds as well. These wonderful aeoniums here are in pots against the house wall, but I've got lots of aeoniums in the ground now. We're approaching the frosty season, it's time to dig these up and get them into the greenhouse, and I'll be doing that over the next few weeks. The ones by the house are totally fine because they've got the warmth against the wall there, but some of the other more tender plants in pots down here, so some of these smaller aeoniums, agaves and aloes, especially aloes, will be brought into the greenhouse now really, because I don't want these frosted. So there's the cheese plants in the greenhouse where they'll stay over winter. They're pretty hardy-ish in terms of they don't need to be above 10 degrees, they can go down to 2 or 3 degrees at worst and they'll just about hold on, although ideally they need to be in a house where they can be pampered a bit and grow better for it. But I'm just keeping these just ticking over in the greenhouse, probably around 5-6 degrees this winter. We'll see how the energy bills stack up, and if it gets too cold or too expensive, then I'll think about bringing them into the house. And here's a very quick update about the cuttings we did in episode 1 and 2. You can see we've got nice plants here all across the board. Got some new cuttings down there that I just did a week ago, and these which we did about 3 weeks ago now, so we can pick up a plant like that. That was a cutting in the hydropod into this pot, and you can see it's already rooted through into the sand. So nice healthy plants that will get through winter, provide lots of material for further cuttings next year, and then these actual plants can be planted out in the garden for a nice summer display. So my tripod's just broken, so I'm just hand holding this last shot. Made the video a little bit shorter than expected, but without my tripod it makes things a bit tricky to film. So sorry for this little handheld shot at the end. So just to recap what we've done in this episode, we've brought in some of the most tender little aeoniums and things like that. We have also prepared plants like the Ensete bananas ready for winter, brought in the house plants, and we've collected lots and lots of seeds to provide lots of summer colour and foliage next year and save us quite a lot of money because we're not having to buy the seeds year after year. So thank you for watching this episode of Exotic Gardening with me, Yorkshire Kris. Join me next week. We'll be doing more in the garden.